After keeping us awaited for 9 whole years, Boruto's Jougan might finally make its manga debut in Two Blue Vortex, possibly within the next few chapters. And this time the clues are not just rumors, as they come straight from Kashin Koji's mysterious prophecy. He has made a bold claim of Jura killing Boruto on spot once he joins the battle against the Shinju. And since the life of his mentor Konohamaru was on line, the prodigy went against the instructions of Koji to protect his master, and that's when Jura felt his presence. But we know from the flashforward that Boruto is about to survive this face-off with the Shinju boss somehow, which leads us to the biggest mystery. How exactly would he defy fate to protect himself from Jura's wrath? Could it be through some divine intervention, the star of hope Jougan, or something even more unexpected? Well, that's what I'm about to unravel today with some phenomenal thoughts and theories, so make sure to subscribe if you end up enjoying, and let's begin. Throughout the time skip part of the manga, Boruto has been in some potentially fatal situations numerous times. First it was in chapter 5 when the Shinju awakened, then we had a flashback of Code fight in the following chapter, which more or less was also a deadly matchup for him that he somehow handled thanks to Sasuke. Further in chapter 9, his karma started resonating with Kawaki, which could have led to Momoshiki's takeover, again an uncontrollable situation that was prevented. And finally in chapter 12, Jura missed his vitals when he attacked him from miles away, later attributing his survival to what he believed as a divine intervention. But this quote-unquote divine intervention, if real, could show us Boruto obtaining some sacred power in the next hopeless or near-death situation in his life. But there was somebody close to him who did not believe in any such miracles and decided to take matters in his own hand. I'm talking about Kashin Koji, and how after witnessing what Jura did to Boruto and the killing intent shown by him afterwards, he used his prescience and found a number of possibilities in which Boruto loses his life after appearing before the Shinju boss. Think of it this way, if Koji had met Boruto before the time when Kawaki regained his karma, he would have advised him to not follow him in the jungle, as his prescience would have shown him a future where Boruto dies after getting hit by Kawaki. For some reasons he wouldn't have been able to see Momoshiki's time stoppage interference, meaning it was impossible for him to calculate a future in which Boruto gets revived, mainly because he was never made aware of that one single puzzle piece which led to that event. Same goes for the events of chapter 78. Koji would have tried hard to somehow stop the Kawaki fight from happening, since the probability for Boruto and Sarada to die was really high, even when he got trapped after omnipotence, where Momoshiki became his only way out of the situation. He still decided to not rely on him, and that's when Sasuke came to his rescue. If Sarada wasn't immune to omnipotence, which was a miracle in itself, Boruto would have died in this scenario as well, a future which got successfully avoided. Now the reason Kashin Koji got so much worried after Boruto went to save Konohamaru is because all the futures that he foresaw follow an identical pattern. Jura will now sense him since he came to a close proximity to one of his Shinju comrades, and after appearing on the battlefield, it won't take him seconds to kill him. This can be concluded from one of Koji's statements, where he says that he would get rid of him before he would be able to say Rasengan. The cliffhanger of the chapter proves this further, as Jura has actually sensed Boruto's appearance, meaning something big is on its way for the next chapter. We know for a fact that Boruto is somehow going to survive this challenging moment, just like how we knew his passing from chapter 66 is not permanent, on top of the Kawaki panel from the glimpse of future never appearing, since things were never supposed to go that far at first place. The future was always supposed to be changed by the interference of a third party, and the flash forward sequence had already proven this, as Boruto can be seen fighting Kawaki on the Hokage mountain. So in order for this next miracle moment to be the Jougan awakening, we first need to make sure that Koji is not lying with his predictions, cause if he is, then things could get a bit more complicated. Koji has held back some important information from Boruto, like the death of Yoro, which has already happened, and the potential death of Konohamaru, which has successfully been prevented. So how is it possible that he isn't holding back any other crucial information from him? He may be onto some secret strategic planning which would increase the odds in Boruto's favor by avoiding an undesirable future. Like, what if the whole Jura killing Boruto narrative was used by him to cover up an even greater threat? The real reason he doesn't want his disciple to face Jura could have something to do with the return of a forgotten entity who could come back to keep his promise. I'm talking about Momoshiki and his pledge to protect Boruto from chapter 72. As for why he wants to save the vessel, whom he can't even take over at this point, has something to do with Boruto being his only link to the outside world. If the vessel ends up dying, the Otsutsuki would likely cease to exist, similar to what happened to Ishiki. And in order to prevent any such possibility from taking place, Momoshiki could appear to protect his vessel whenever a potentially fatal situation takes place. And it seems like Kashin Koji definitely knows about this. So there is a chance that he was lying all this time by showing concern for Boruto's life, which could come to an end by the hands of Jura. What he is actually worried about could be Momoshiki taking over Boruto's body once he gets cornered in the Jura fight. The whole Boruto losing control and the Otsutsuki hijacking his body could act as the main catalyst for the worst possible future. Now you could ask me that why would Koji need to cover this up when Boruto already knows that using the Kama would increase the likelihood of Momoshiki's emergence, as seen in chapter 9 when he was visibly shaken after the seal began to resonate with Kawaki. Further in chapter 15, he confirmed that using the Kama could enhance the chances for the monster to appear, which is why he hasn't used it all these years. So even if he was told the truth about the Jura fight, which is the usage of Kama driving Momoshiki out to bend the future into a darker direction, why did Koji phrase it as Jura will kill you if you go there, instead of revealing the real deal, which is Momoshiki? Well, there are actually several yet solid reasons for this to be the case. You may have noticed Kawaki is absent from the manga for a couple of chapters now. Last time we saw him with Amado when both of them were making a deal to turn off his limiters in return of Akebi's revival. Kawaki also demanded the scientists to make him stronger in every way possible, no matter through scientific or non-scientific methods, but he should scale above his targets, which are Boruto, Code and the Shinju. So while him appearing on the battlefield to fight Jura alongside Boruto was just a speculation for a long period of time, a recent reveal from the V-Jump magazine has solidified this possibility even more. A panel of the Kama brothers was released where Kawaki can be seen with the same bow staff that he was using in the flash forward. So this may be a huge hint for his return in the upcoming chapter to join Boruto in his battle against Jura. But here is where it all gets tricky. The last time when Boruto's Kama got activated spontaneously was all because of Kawaki, who led to a resonance moment by activating his own Kama in front of him. Both the seals started reacting with each other, which got Boruto panicked, followed by Koji advising him to escape right away. So assuming Kawaki is now coming back to fight Jura, there is no way he won't activate the Kama in Boruto's presence. And as we already know what happened last time, this action of Kawaki could abruptly lead to Momoshiki's awakening after Boruto loses the control of his Kama, marking the beginning of the future that Koji was trying really hard to avoid. Now there are actually a number of reasons for him to be really destructive, way more than before. Like imagine him spamming Uzuhiko all over the place to turn everything to runes, or him taking advantage of the flying thunder god to get rid of all the pillars of hope that Boruto has, such as Kashin Koji, Shikamaru and Sarada as well. So while the emergence of Momoshiki could definitely ruin everything planned by Koji, what if he wasn't covering up anything and is actually concerned for Jura hunting down Boruto? Well, this brings us to the brand new Jougan theory, and if you have reached this far in the video, make sure to leave a like to push the channel forward. We all know Boruto is not gonna die against Jura since he can be seen fighting Kawaki in the future, which means something will act as an anchor to change his destiny completely in the next chapter. While Koji believes him appearing to save Konohamaru has ruined their plans, it could be that this very decision has branched out a completely new future for him, something that even Kashin Koji could not foresee with his prescience. Now I know he has mentioned seeing Boruto die more than a single time through this power, but with his intervention in the Mastery battle, all the possibilities with Koji's setup have been removed, meaning things are now headed towards an unknown direction. And in order to find out what happens next, Koji will need to rerun prescience with all the new variables in mind to reach some fresh conclusions. The reason for Boruto's action breaking the chain of events foreseen by Koji is because he is a singularity of fate himself, which means he holds a much greater force on the path of destiny and can converge all the possible realities into one unique point, which would then lead to the formation of new and complex futures. This is why Koji's prediction of Jura killing Boruto will fail, since the singularities can bend the stream of destiny into new and unprecedented directions with their actions, which is what Boruto has already done. Now the question which remains is that, how in the world would he defy death? Up until now, Jura deciding to spare his life for some other reason might explain how him being a singularity will get him saved yet another time. But suppose the Shinju is really serious to kill him this time, then what possibly could save him from getting his fate seized? It was the 12th chapter when Jura shot a wave of energy from miles away to get rid of Boruto. The hit made the prodigy go unconscious in a matter of seconds, and due to the distance between the attacker and the target, it missed his vital organs, which is the only reason he survived. The fact that his odds of survival against Jura are very low will inevitably turn their next encounter into a pretty hopeless situation, and this could be the right time for the Jougan to awaken, since it has been attributed as the star of hope in the anime. With the recent reveal of what Sarada's Mangenkyu can do, it has now been identified as the strongest eye in the verse. But the author cannot let that happen, cause it makes more sense for the MC to have the most powerful eye, unless you are Gojo from JJK, which means Sarada's Mangenkyu will not hold the title of the strongest eye for long, cause Kishimoto is holding back an even stronger dojutsu for Boruto. So how is he about to unlock it? The theories are about to get more and more interesting from this point, so I hope you pay some attention. As for the very basic reason for why I think the Jougan is about to unlock against Jura has something to do with the prophecy of Toneri. He predicted that his eye will become the star of hope against the destruction that will come to pass. Here I feel like destruction is a metaphor for Jura, since the Ten Tails destroy a planet after the harvestation of the chakra fruit. So the Jougan acting as the star of hope against some destruction that will come to pass actually means that it will help Boruto to defeat the catalyst of destruction, which is the humanoid avatar of the Ten Tails in this case. He also said that with this eye you will shoulder the fate of the world, and that also fits perfectly in Jura's case, since he has led to the planet getting destroyed in multiple futures, so the Jougan could be the final hope to change the timeline, likely because it's a singularity in itself, and I will explain that in a bit. The other two statements of Toneri emphasize that the power of hope already exists within Boruto, followed by him stating that the eye will guide him to the light that will dispel the darkness. So now what I'm about to tell you is something that you must have never heard before. I feel like I have cracked this prophecy of Toneri as well as his Jougan prediction. If you take a look at his entire dialogue, you will notice that he first used the word destruction, and then in the last line he said darkness. And while it may feel like he's referring to the same event, he definitely isn't. The destruction can be a metaphor to Jura, since the Ten Tails are more or less the cosmic tools of devastation, while the final line, which mentions the darkness, is talking about Kawaki. This means the Jougan would first help him to handle Jura, the catalyst of destruction, and then it will guide him to a light that will illuminate the world from the darkness which was brought in by Kawaki. The way Boruto opens his eye in the very first episode acts as a strong evidence to this theory. So now that we know this much, let's understand how Boruto is about to obtain this eye while fighting Jura. The Jougan can be identified as a Shinjutsu, but it's not an ordinary one. It's a power that the god of Otsutsuki's obtain after ascending to the higher plane of existence. As evident in this panel of a hypothetical Otsutsuki god, the power is unique to those Otsutsukis who abandon the mortal world to enter this mysterious higher realm. So I believe Boruto's awakening of this power will also occur in a totally different dimension. Firstly, because we have already seen the Jougan enabling one to travel between different dimensions when it was awakened prematurely in the anime. If you remember the time when Momoshiki stopped time to revive Boruto, it was an event that even Aida couldn't catch with her Shinjutsu of Senringen, a power which allows her to look anywhere in the past and real time. This means the Shinjutsu like Aida's clairvoyance or Koji's prescience can only perceive mortal reality, but the non-physical planes evade their scope, as seen with the failure of Aida to detect the resurrection of Boruto. This clearly means that the only reason Koji could not see the Jougan's awakening is because it takes place in a different plane of existence, just like how he couldn't detect the revival of Kurama, which took place within the body of Himawari. And as for which plane it's going to be, well, I guess I'm about to win a few new subscribers with this one. It's the Pure Land, the afterlife in the Narutoverse, which explains why this dojutsu is known as the Pure Eye. So what's the only way to reach the Pure Land in the verse? Well, to no one's surprise, it's death. And what has Kashin Koji predicted about Boruto? He will get killed by Jura very soon. So there you have it. Koji's prediction of Jura killing Boruto will actually come true, but the event that would follow will shock everyone. Boruto might be on his way to awaken this power in the Pure Land, and then he will come back to this world to fight both the metaphor of destruction and the symbol of darkness. In chapter 67, Momoshiki told Boruto that next time his death will be absolute and he won't be able to bring him back like this. So assuming the Otsutsuki has given up on his pledge to protect the vessel, it's very likely that only some divine intervention can bring him back now, that too more stronger than ever. The Jougan may be a singularity in itself, because after it's awakened, the predestined parts of an individual are totally changed, something that can only be done by a higher being to fulfill some divine purpose. If you are interested in more theories like this, make sure to check out these videos right now.